Good morning, Facebook. Well, I guess it's technically afternoon here in Georgia, but it's still morning in California. In California, this message is for you. All eyes are on California right now as we approach the primary election for the District 6 State Senate race, where our friend Richard Pan, pictured here, is going to be running for re-election against a handful of contenders, including someone who said he wouldn't run as a write-in, but now he's going to, but I'm going to leave him unnamed. You probably know who I'm talking about. Forget about that. We got to get this devil out of office. And what I'm going to share with you today, if it doesn't scare the crap out of you, you're not awake. I found this video here by Vaxism. Little nod here, shout out to Vaxism for putting this together. I'm going to play this. I want you to kind of pay attention to what's being said in this video. And then I'm going to show you 3 bills that I find to be very concerning. Okay? Senate Bill 1424. I guess the whole screen. Here we go. Senate Bill 1424. Senate Bill 947 and Senate Bill 2756, and these are all interrelated and very problematic. Before I go into that, though, I'm going to play a little bit of this video. And
citizenry that's prepared for that, whether it's on the political front, protective democracy, from people who seek to undermine our science, which is at the core of the strength of our country, being able to distinguish facts from non-facts, and then being able to come together as a country around what is true.
That there's a reason we spend most of our time in California. If we can actually get stuff done there.
Okay. If you don't know who this guy is, okay, let me lay it out for you. This is James Steyer of Common Sense Media. Common Sense Media is one of the big organizations behind most of the stuff that Pan has been up to, including SB 277, the homeschooling bill, and these other interrelated bills that have to do with censoring, basically, as you will see, censoring what we are allowed to see on the internet. They basically want to make it where the only information that you're allowed to have is information that they deem to be appropriate.
Then it'll be translated into federal legislation, because it should be done federally.
Thank you today for the ability to present to you Senate Bill 947. This is legislation to create a process for parents, students, educators, and other educational stakeholders to collaborate with the State Department of Education to develop proposals about digital citizenship, media literacy, and safe use of technology. Currently, there are no standards for teaching students about the more critical aspects of digital citizenship, things like privacy and what is truly fake news. Specifically, this bill will require the Superintendent of Public Instruction, in consultation with the State Board of Education and a panel of stakeholders, to identify these best practices in media literacy and then report to the legislature on strategies best to implement these practices. This measure will help our students learn how to safely, responsibly, and effectively use the extraordinary potential of the media and technology resources that are available to them.
In other words, they're not brainwashing our children well enough in school, because regardless of all the programming that they are trying to instill in the public school system, These kids are going home using the internet and they're finding things out that don't necessarily line up with what they're being taught in school. And oh my gosh, we can't have any quote unquote alternative facts out there. Alternative meaning facts that don't line up with the propaganda agenda that California wants to set as the model for the rest of the country. Now, as you watch this, pay attention to what these people are saying. It's very important that you read between the lines and listen carefully to what they're saying.
And with me today in support of SB 947 is Danielle Kando-Kaiser of Common Sense Kids Action.
Common Sense Kids Action is the legislative arm of Common Sense Media, where we empower parents, teachers, and policymakers by providing unbiased information to help them harness the power of media and technology as a positive force.
In other words, Common Sense Media has a lobbying arm that sits up at the state capitol in Sacramento and tells these legislators what to do. Okay, they are instructing our legislators on what policies to write because they want to control what goes into the minds of our children. This is one of the most corrupt and evil organizations that ever existed that's having to do with children, okay?
In all kids' lives. The fake news that our children see online, on places like YouTube, that is of top concern. It should be of top concern.
Some speakers here in support.
Erica Hoffman on behalf of the California School Boards Association in support of the measure.
Thank you.
Good morning, Mr. Chair and members. Isabel Garcia, representing the California Teachers Association. For all the reasons stated, we're recommending a formal support at our upcoming State Council of Education meeting.
Okay.
Thank you.
Good morning, Sam Nasher with the Los Angeles County Office of Education in support.
Nikki Moore, representing Real News for the California News Publishers Association.
All right, thank you.
There's
So I
a
just
lot
wanna
of
show you a little bit
misinformation. Sometimes misinformation is more appealing, and you don't know. People are retweeting things that are unconfirmed that they don't know, and then of course we can talk about our intelligence agency have said there is manipulation of our elections. So we need to have a citizenry that's prepared for that, whether it's on the political front to protect our democracy, to protect themselves from commercial exploitation, from people who seek to undermine our science, which is at the core of the strength of our country.
Okay, so let me translate for you. I'm going to translate for you, okay? What he's really saying is, I'm crapping in my pants right now because, like, people are finding out the truth about me and, oh my God, I'm up for re-election and, oh no, like, we've got to stop the flow of this misinformation because, like, people might actually find out that I'm a weasel, that I'm bought and paid for by pharma, that the science I keep pointing to is actually fraudulent, that I don't really care about the children of California because all I really care about is the fact that pharma keeps lining my pockets with lots and lots and lots of fiat money. Let's just make sure that these people don't find out the truth about me because I might not get reelected. Disgusting piece of... Listen, we have got to wake up the people in District 6. If we can't wake those people up in District 6, we're going to be seeing this kind of BS play out all across the country. They've already set New Jersey in their sights. New Jersey will be the next state to lose their religious exemption for vaccines if they don't put up a mighty fight. And honestly, New Jersey has the highest rates of autism in this country. Why is that? Could it be because it's so damn polluted there? Could it be the environmental toxin load on these kids that are then vaccinated is so high that they just cannot handle it? So now we're going to take away religious exemptions in a state that has the highest rates of autism and watch it go up even more? Good job, Pan.
Being able to distinguish facts from non-facts and then being able to come together as a country around what is true. And so I think it's extremely vital that...
In other words, we got to figure out a way to make sure everybody has the same mindset, and that mindset is the one that we determine for them. We can't have people with independent thinking skills, critical thinking skills, having access to information that goes against the propaganda that we set forward, okay? Like, we just can't have any alternative information out there that might possibly sway people away from what we want them to believe.
We educate our students, and actually there's an urgency to this as well. The technology is moving forward, so we need to make this a top priority because our students and actually our adults are being exposed to this on a constant basis. So I certainly urge support and be happy to move at the appropriate time, your bill.
I'm presenting SB 830 pertaining to media literacy education. The proliferation of fake and misleading news is deeply concerning. Even more concerning is the lack of education provided to ensure people can decide and determine what is fake and what is not.
According to who? According to who? Okay? Fake news according to who is the question.
SB 830 requires the State Board of Education to develop a model curriculum in media literacy. It's about safeguarding the future of our democracy. With me today in support is Donnie.
Oh, hold on. That sounds an awful lot like the talking points that have been handed to the media that were exposed in that Sinclair Media piece. I don't know if you saw that, but there was recently a news story that went out to all these affiliates that basically word for word, they all recited word for word, and it had to do with fake news endangering our democracy. I'm sorry, but the free press is supposed to be the fourth branch of government. It is there to ensure that the people in this country are able to redress their government when the government gets out of line. Free press means we're able to speak out against people like Senator Pan, who are doing things to destroy the people in the state of California, and we already know that this is the model they want for the rest of the country. So, who determines what is fake news?
Kondo Kaiser, Common Sense Kids Action.
This bill thoughtfully leverages other past and current efforts such as SB 947 to ensure best practices and resources are being developed over the next few years. We're excited to work with Senator Dodd on expanding his vision of creating curriculum that more fully empowers and supports educators, and we urge your aye vote. Thank you.
And I am looking to get private funders for this. I've had a number of different companies in the media and internet space that really like this proposal and want to help fund it so that it's not a state cost.
Do.
The bottom line for us on this, big picture, is that we believe...
Hold on a second. It does not surprise me that media outlets are in full support of this, okay? Because guess what? Because people are waking up to the fake news media. Recent polling showed CNN has slipped all the way down to number 11, behind History Channel and the Discovery Channel. So more people are watching the fake History Channel and the fake Discovery Channel than are watching the fake news media CNN. So of course they're scrambling. Of course they're freaking out because people are watching them only to find out what BS they're promoting. And the truth is out there. It is not that hard to find, and that is why they're freaking out.
That a thoughtful look and restructuring of the governance of education, K through 12 here in California, will have a long-term positive impact on the lives of kids. To move the authority for the operations of the California pre-K through 12 public education system at large, and the ultimate responsibility for the delivery of education to students within the office of the governor under the State Board of Education.
You seem to want to bring most of the powers of the SBI under the governor, but I guess you could just as easily to clear up the confusion do it the other way around and bring some of the authorities of the board under the SBI, right?
I think I get your point. I don't think I don't think we think that the SPI is losing in this equation. We believe that the SPI is actually going to be empowered in this proposal. And a lot of the conversations we had last year when we were circulating this around and talking to different experts, including with SBI Torlakson and his staff, was a sense from them, actually, that that would be positive.
Good morning. Sue Vang on behalf of State Superintendent of Public Instruction, Tom Torlakson. We very much appreciate this conversation on K-12 governance, but want to be clear that Superintendent Torlakson does not have a position on the common sense proposal. We look forward to working with the legislature if this is something that they continue to work on this year. Thank you.
Thank you.
What about the suggestion I just made that you could flip it the other way around so that the administrative functions that exist in the state board?
I get it. You could. Our sense is it makes more sense to do it under the state board and the governor. Because we think that ultimately the governor is the person, when you think of your average constituent, who the public's going to hold accountable, and we think that it's a stronger position electorally. Quite frankly, the governor's a bigger deal than SPI, and we think it makes a logical sense to have the overall accountability in one place rather than across multiple different locuses. Your point's well taken that you could say, let's put it all over here, but I think it would continue the confusion.
Okay, so I'm going to pause this for a minute, and I want us to look at this bill right here that they're referring to. SB 947, Senate Bill 947 in the state of California. Okay? So, this bill is, it's basically, they want to require public schools to instruct children, students, in best practices and recommendations for instruction in digital citizenship, internet safety, and media literacy, and to report to the appropriate fiscal and policy committees of the legislature on strategies to implement the best practices and recommendations statewide. Okay? Now, what does this mean? I mean, it sounds good, just like most of these bills sound good on the surface, okay? But what they really want to do here, okay, is they want to control the way students think about and use the internet, okay? It's harder to control adult behavior, but when you can get the kids real young, okay, you can really influence them, okay? So what they're trying to say is that we need the schools to instruct children how to use the internet, okay? So here's a good example right here. While media and technology have great promise for learning, young people need support and education to learn how to make sound judgments when navigating the digital world, okay? Now, the bottom line is, okay, that they want to control the way our kids think about and use the internet. Now, this bill, Bill SB 947, is related to this other bill, SB 1424. SB 1424, while SB 947 deals with schools and teaching children how to use the internet appropriately, SB 1424 basically requires that any operators of a social media internet website with a physical presence in California, which is the majority, okay, because Silicon Valley is in California, okay. So what they are wanting to do is take, and one of their big targets is Facebook, okay. So what they want to do is they want to put things in place that controls the information being shared on internet sites. A plan to mitigate the spread of false information through news stories, utilization of fact checkers to verify news stories. So basically, they want to have a system in place where when you post a story on, say, Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or any of these major, social media websites, that they want to have a team of people behind the scenes that are going to look at what you're posting, okay? And if they decide that the information that you're posting qualifies as fake news, they can shut it down, okay? So they're going to also providing outreach to social media users regarding news stories containing false information. So basically, you're going to, if you post something that they deem to be fake news, they're going to reach out to you and let you know, hey, that's not, appropriate to share. Placing a warning on news story containing false information. This is already happening, you guys. What they want to do is they want to legislate this so that it becomes a model for the rest of the country and then the rest of the world. Now, China's already doing a really good job of this. Richard Pan seems to want to follow that model. Total censorship of information on the internet. Okay? So, this is the scariest part right here, as used in this section. Okay? This is the part that should make your hairs on the back of your neck stand up. Section 1, sub-paragraph 4C. As used in this section, social media means an electronic service or account or electronic content including, but not limited to, videos, still photographs, blogs, video blogs, podcasts, instant and text messages, email, online services or accounts, or internet website profiles or location. Are you kidding me? They want to be able to monitor every single thing you do online. Let me read that to you again. Social media means electronic service or account or electronic content including, but not limited to, videos, still photographs, blogs, video blogs, podcasts, instant and text messages, email, online services or accounts, or internet website profiles. They want to be able to look at everything you're doing, including your emails, your instant messages, your text messages, which, as far as I understand, text messages, that shouldn't qualify as something that they have the power to monitor. Okay? They really should not have the power to monitor that. But this is what they're asking for. Okay? This is what they are asking for. So if that doesn't scare you, if that doesn't make the hairs on the back of your neck stand up, I don't know what to say. You are truly sound asleep. Okay? Now, a little bit more of what you need to be looking at also is this bill, SB, or Assembly Bill, so it's AB 2756, and this has to do with homeschooling. Okay? They want more rights to kind of see what you're doing if you have a private or a home school. A lot of the stuff in here has been struck, but basically what they want to do is they want to be able to look at, anyone that's doing homeschooling or private schooling, and they want to be able to collect all kinds of information, including the names, address, criminal records, that kind of thing. Okay? So just take a look at these bills. I'm going to put the video back on. I'm going to let you listen to the rest of it.
Art sense, this is the simplest, most logical way to do it. It's just, it's just on its face, and also with the input of so many different people around the state, it is a more logical, streamlined, efficient, transparent system.
So where is the evidence this would be a more logical and transparent and efficient system? I mean, you've threw out a few examples of states that happen to have good results that also happen to have the system that you like, but the gentleman who testified before you, who I think you acknowledged is more knowledgeable about the topic than you, stated that there's no quantifiable evidence, actually, that one system works better than the other.
Is there one study that that could canonize that? No. And that's a fair question.
So would you agree that we should probably not make any sort of structural change until we have a higher level of evidence where the folks who just testified could tell us that we actually do now have some good evidence that this model is better than that one?
I wouldn't, although I think that's a fair question. No, I think that the body of evidence that exists is good enough to suggest that a change now will make that happen.
Would you remind me what that evidence was?
Yeah, I think it's really the evidence is of talking to all the key education players around the state.
I mean, talking to people isn't really evidence. Can you point to what the evidence is?
You know, the only evidence I would point to would be the states that are exceeding us in terms of their rankings in delivering educational services to pupils who have a more streamlined, efficient systems.
So if there are states that are exceeding us, then
no. But I think, to some extent, the burden of proof is on you to the proponents of making such a big change, because we have to make sure that sure, we may, if the choice were, if we were starting a brand new state, would we structure things the way we do now? Perhaps not, maybe more along the lines of what you're just suggesting. But the question is, if we're going to take all the steps necessary and all the upheaval associated, is it going to be worth it?
I'm a child advocate, and what we decided to give away for free was ratings and reviews of movies, TV, video games, books, and music. We built the media platform, and as you know now, it's 80 million plus regular users. Then we're in more than half the schools in the United States are members of Common Sense. And then we've always had this advocacy voice that was really about all kids' issues, poverty, early child, and stuff like that. But the truth is, the extraordinary explosion of media and technology in all of our lives just went to the fore. We are pro-tech, pro-media, if it's done well. We built an entire rating system with Bill Gates. Many of you may know.
Okay. Oh, whoa. Hold on a second. Do you know who this guy is? Have you researched who this guy is? Why does he have so much influence on the state of California's legislature? Did you hear what he just said? More than half of the schools in California are member affiliates with Common Sense Kids Action, Common Sense Media. Now, there's a certain group of people that these people are affiliated with, and I'm not going to make this a commentary on scandals relating to food items, but just know that these guys do not have the best interests of our children at heart. But did you just hear him mention the name of the devil himself, Bill Gates? Did you hear that? That right there ought to be enough to make your blood run cold. Here, I'm going to play it for you again. This guy, he is just awesome.
All kids' issues, poverty, early child, and stuff like that. But the truth is, the extraordinary explosion of media and technology in all of our lives just went to the fore. We are pro-tech, pro-media, if it's done well. We built an entire rating system with Bill Gates. Many of you may know we have a educational rating platform that's similar.
Okay, so they have an educational rating program that they developed with Bill Gates. So do you really want Bill Gates to be the one helping your children decide, or helping the teachers in the school system decide what information your child should have? Because I don't trust Bill Gates at all.
Similar to our consumer platform, which is now used by most of the schools in the United States. We're building version 2.0 of the digital citizenship curriculum, which will be in your kid's school this fall. We call out bad stuff that happens. That's our job. That's why we are an advocacy platform as well.
I have chosen to devote my life to this cause. I want to help children. I'm not a parent, so I want to help everybody else's children.
Here's another person you need to investigate. Roger McNamee, however you say his name. Elevation Partners. please, 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 don't just listen to what I'm telling you. Do your own research. This guy is another snake, okay? Why do we have people like this advising the legislature in California, advising legislatures around the country? This man right here, if you don't know anything about him, I suggest you start right away and find out who he is, find out everything you can about his organization, Elevation Partners. I don't want to go into that many details on this because I don't want to get banned from Facebook, but please do your due diligence and research these people who are influencing the state of California and by proxy the rest of the country, okay?
A third of people in America who define their being around some idea that is manifestly not true, right? Whether it's contrails or anti-vax or, whether it's climate change denial, whatever it is. It's roughly...
Okay, so basically anyone that is awake to the truth. Contrails? No. Sorry. Contrails are water vapor that dissipate at pretty much the same rate that the plane is traveling. If you watch a plane with a contrail, you'll see it's got a little trail behind it, but the trail vanishes at the same rate as the plane is traveling. It does not, make a big long trail that stretches from horizon to horizon and then spreads out, and they do this crisscross pattern, and then it spreads out and you get this haze. Have you ever noticed recently the sky isn't even blue? It has this sort of a haze to it. Okay, not contrails. Okay, aerosolized stratospheric particles is the technical term for it. Geoengineering. Okay, you notice how he put these together: contrails, anti-vax, climate change deniers. Climate change deniers are people who realize that, yes, human activity is causing a change to our climate. However, it's the solution that they are trying to implement, or what they're telling us is supposed to be a solution or a proposed solution, is actually causing more harm than anything that we humans just, burning petroleum gasoline in our cars. I mean, heck, the cow farts are a bigger problem than the cars, and I'm not saying that we should be careless about the environment, but see, they present the problem and then they present the solution, and the solution is really the problem. Okay.
A third of the population. And there was going to be a really significant number of people who believe nonsense, but that position is made radically worse, and the number of people is radically larger because of Facebook. And I am personally chosen to devote myself as long as necessary to trying to fix that.
Our strategy.
Okay. So Facebook's the biggest problem that he can see, because what they designed as a tool, the CIA, forget about Zuckerberg. Come on, you really think a couple of college kids came up with this? Really? Don't be naive, okay? Facebook and all these other social media platforms are CIA front for data collection and surveillance. Yes, surveillance. They're watching me right now, I'm sure of it. But you know what? I'm going to use their tool against them for as long as I can. Because whether they like it or not, what they meant to use to control and monitor us, we've been able to turn around and use on them. Okay, 1 out of 3 people is awake to the truth, according to this guy. 1 out of 3. I think we're getting closer to that 100th monkey effect, hopefully.
Is largely state-based advocacy. We're the employment agency for all the tech company lobbyists in state capitals around the country, because we're running bills about tech and privacy around the country now.
I am
always
grateful and proud to be in the company of Common Sense. I had the pleasure of having taken...
Hi, I'm Chelsea Clinton, And I love Common Sense. They're the best. I mean, oh my gosh. I just love them. They're the best. Okay, so this right here ought to be the final nail in the coffin. If once you see her face come on the scene, talking about how much she loves these folks, that should be all you need to know, okay? Yeah. Do I need to say anything more? No, I think I'll let Chelsea herself say it.
2 of Jim Steyer's classes at Stanford, I then became his TA and went on to be his research assistant. Was on the board of Common Sense for a handful of years, and as a parent, I think this is one of the most important conversations that we can be having at any moment, and one that we must be engaged in, arguably, at every moment.
We as a society and state know how to do that. Even in this day and age, we do need to educate parents about the proper way to raise those kids.
What?
So what are we going to do about it? Just sit here.
What? Did you hear that? Oh my God, did you hear that? Oh my God. Wait a minute. You need to hear that again. That was like classic gold. That was unbelievable. You got to hear that again.
Be having at any moment, and one that kind of we must be engaged in, arguably.
Listen carefully.
We as a society and state know how to do that. Even in this day and age, we do need to educate parents about the proper way to raise those kids. So what are we going to do about it? Just sit here and do nothing and never talk about it? No. Even in this day and age, we do need to educate parents about the proper way to raise those kids. So what are we going to... Even in this day and age, we do need to educate parents about the proper way to raise those kids. So...
Wow. Hold on a second. I'm not taking any advice on how to parent my children from that guy, okay? Sorry, but no. So what do you guys think? What do you think? Should we take parenting advice from this guy? I think not. So, does anybody feel like coming on here with me and maybe talk about what we just saw? Anyone? Just hit that little button down there on the right of the comment bar. Looks like a camera. If you wanna, I'll bring you on. Because personally, I find that highly disturbing. Who wants to come on and talk to me? Okay, you guys, look, the bottom line is this. We have a serious problem in California. A serious problem. And they're showing their hand, okay? They're really showing their hand. So, if we don't find another way to communicate amongst ourselves soon, they're going to crash the internet. Okay, there is stuff coming out now, and I know about a lot of this stuff because I happen to be following the QAnon phenomenon, which of course the fake news media outlets are starting to run articles talking about it being, fake. I'm telling you, it's not fake. If you want to know, like, what the true patriots in this country are doing, start to follow that, the QAnon phenomenon. Now, I have a YouTube channel that I have set up, and I'm slowly transferring my live videos from Facebook to YouTube and downloading them to save them, because when Facebook goes down, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's soon at all, okay? Because they have to figure out a way to control us, and you heard the urgency in Pan's voice. He's very concerned about this. So if they're probably going to pass this legislation, but in the meantime, I foresee a crash. I foresee a crash in the near future where they're just going to wipe everybody's accounts. Just they'll blame it on something else, but we'll be gone. And then they'll say, oh, we have to rebuild it, but they'll rebuild it with these things in place that are going to be worse than what we already have. And that's just my prediction. I'm only basing that on my gut and the things that I'm seeing on the cue boards and in the interpretations of the messages coming out of that outlet. They know that this is the way that the true patriots that are surrounding President Trump, and I do believe that God has put him in a position with the right people around him to hopefully do something to stop this. These people, they have one end goal, and that is Armageddon, New World Order. They want to see their God, which is not our God, elevated to the level of, Prince of the Earth. And which, there's never been a time where so many things in biblical prophecy were actually either happening or possible to happen. But what I'm trying to say is, like, people that you care about staying in touch with on Facebook, you better be exchanging alternative methods of communication, because if Facebook goes down, just imagine, like, I know a few of you have been in Facebook jail, so you know what it feels like to be locked out of your account and not be able to, do what you do. But imagine Facebook and Twitter going down for everyone. Can you understand the panic that will ensue? The panic, okay? And even if that doesn't happen, and they start to put these things in place, which, by the way, they already have these things in place. They already have these things in place. What they're doing with the legislature is just to make sure that they don't get in trouble. They can say, oh, look, this is the law. It has to be this way. But if they've already been censoring like crazy. I know that my reach is nothing like it used to be. I would have dozens of people on live videos. I would have thousands of views. Right now, I'm showing 11 people on this broadcast. At the high point, I had 13. That's not normal. I am not having the same reach that I should have had. So what I'm inviting all of you to do is to PM me your email address if you want to be able to stay in touch with me should I get booted off of Facebook or, worse, Facebook goes down. So I'm just going to put this invitation out there. If you're on my friends list, send me a private message with your email address. I'll respond. We'll start a connection. I'm going to make an email tree with people that really, need to stay in touch with. And I suggest you do that too. Think about all these people that you have connected with on Facebook and how devastated you would be if you suddenly couldn't communicate with any of them. Now, I have over 3,000 friends on my list. I know I'm not reaching 3,000 people with my posts. I know I'm not, okay? So, if you see this video and you want to make sure that you're in touch with me, I'm on a lot of different platforms, but I'm not using them as much because I don't have time. I don't have time. I barely have time. Like, the time that I'm spending on Facebook is too much. It's too much. It would almost be a blessing for Facebook to go down, because then I would probably move on to doing things that I need to be doing in my real life. Okay? So, yes. You know what? Message me with your email address. I will respond with my full contact information. That's my phone number and other ways to reach me, okay? Because I don't want this network that we've built to be gone. And I just want you to take my lead and do the same thing. Put out a post or do a live video and ask your friends to please PM you with alternate means to communicate and start making that contact. We used to have the old-fashioned address books, and everybody important was in your address book. Now we're relying on these things, these phones. And guess what? When your phone crashes, you lose your phone numbers because nobody has them written down in an address book like we did in the old days. So start getting your contacts so that you don't have to panic when everybody's gone. Okay? I love you, and actually my email address is really easy. It's just tiaseverino@gmail. So you can go ahead and make note of that, tiaseverino@gmail. But PM me. Let me get your email address. Let's exchange like actual physical phone numbers so that we don't lose each other when this stuff goes down. Okay? I love you, and I'll see you soon.